Hey everyone, my name is Donovan. This is the TicWatch Pro. This is a watch that I think a lot of people have been waiting for, especially those of you that purchased the TicWatch 2 and you were waiting for something premium like the TicWatch Pro. Well, it's available. This is the TicWatch S. It is a watch that came out back in December, and I think a few people that had the TicWatch 2 were a little disappointed when Mobvoi decided to release something that was very fitness focused. Here it is, a more premium smartwatch from Mobvoi. Again, this is the TicWatch Pro, and it's available right now on Amazon.com. Links will be down in the description if you are interested in picking it up for $250. So I want to mention that price right away because of the fact that when I first pulled this out of the box, my initial thought was that this would be a $300 smartwatch. So I was pretty excited when I saw the $250 price point. It's still a little bit steep, but I think that the watch is definitely worth it, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit, because this is a very innovative watch. It's really the first Android Wear watch that I think has innovation built into it, and it's mostly because of those dual screens, and we'll talk about those in just a little bit. So we'll go ahead and kind of get a sneak peek there, but you can see there is the always on screen, and then there is the AMOLED screen below it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the box and see what all they have to mention here. So first of all, of course, it's a premium smartwatch, layered display with dual screens, unrivaled battery life, GPS and health sensors, and music streaming, because of course this is a Wear OS watch, so you can use Google Music, Spotify, whatever your favorite music streaming service is. It's available on this watch with the exception of Apple Music, so just a quick heads up there for those of you that are Apple fans. However, this watch will work, of course, with Apple phones as well. So here we go, a few other things that they mention here. So we have Wear OS by Google, 5-day battery life with the layered display. We'll talk more about that battery life in just a little bit. We do have Google Pay with NFC payments built in. I have already tested that out. Google Pay works very well. We have premium materials, GPS tracker, so GPS is built in. We'll talk more about that in a little bit as well. We've already talked about the music streaming. We have IP68 water and dust resistance, so it is water resistant. It is not waterproof, so you don't really want to go swimming with this, but if you get it in the shower, you get it wet, really no problems there. But I wouldn't go swimming with it, even though technically IP68 means you can go under 1 meter of water for 30 minutes. I wouldn't recommend necessarily taking this underwater with you. So we do have heart rate sensing, step tracking, 1,000+ watch faces with the Google Play App Store on here, and then we do have Google Assistant built in as well. So this is the box that comes in. Very nice premium box. I'm not going to unbox it because obviously I've had it for a while already. This is the charging cord. Now it does also come with some instructions inside the box, but this is the charging base. I really like it. It is basically just a magnetic base here, so it just snaps right on, and you're charging on the other end. Of course, it is a USB. Just plug it into your computer, plug it into your phone adapter, and you're good to go. All right, so now let's go ahead and talk about the build quality of this watch, and I will say that one thing I really like about this is that it is really kind of that perfect blend of a business, casual, and even a health fitness watch as well. So one thing I will mention is that right out of the box, one of the things that you will notice is the fact that it is a little heavier than your average fitness watch. So this is the TicWatch S, this is the TicWatch Pro, and there is no doubt that it is definitely heavier, and that is because of this metal build here that you see on the front and on the back. Now it's sandwiched by a polycarbonate, I believe, here in the middle, so that's a plastic polycarbonate, but definitely metal on both the front and the back. And you will notice that extra weight from the metal build. Not that it's bad, but you do notice it right away, especially if you're coming from something like a pure health fitness watch that typically are a little bit lighter. Now in terms of the bands, you can see here that we have, this is actual leather, so this right here is leather. Then on the back, it's kind of cool, they actually included silicone on the back, so that's the good thing for those of you that are health-minded. You won't get that leather all nasty, but then on the other side you have leather, and they are quick release, so they're 22mm quick release bands. I will admit that I actually replace these, especially while I'm running, to just pure silicone bands because I don't want to get the leather all nasty, especially for the review. But even for just in general use, I will probably be using silicone bands because of the fact that I'm running with my watch quite often. So we have our heart rate sensor here on the back. We have our pogo pins, or our pins here for receiving the charger. And then on this side we have two hardware buttons, a microphone, and then down here we have our loudspeaker. So you can use this both with Bluetooth headphones or without the headphones, because of the fact that there is a speaker built in. And yes, you can use it for phone calls with that microphone and that loudspeaker combined. So that is the build quality. It is available in both silver and black. So I actually think I prefer the black, at least in pictures. But overall, I definitely really like the build quality. Super premium, but then also very health-minded as well. Alright, so now it's time to talk about the dual screens that we have here on the TicWatch Pro. So right now you see the LCD display. If I touch the display, it will bring on the AMOLED display, so you can see how it just kind of automatically, seamlessly does that. And then if I cover up the screen using the proximity sensor, basically covering that up, you can see it goes right back to the LCD display. So the LCD display will always show by default. You can see it shows time, the date, the steps that you're taking, and then also a battery life indicator down here as well, which is awesome. I really like that. Unfortunately, you can't adjust this. And the other thing I'm not real fond of with the LCD display is the fact that it's impossible to see at night. In broad daylight, this display is very easy to see. In fact, the more light, the easier it is to see. However, at night, there is no backlight unless you touch the screen and turn on the AMOLED display. So the AMOLED display, of course, is backlit. You will be able to see that one at night, but we'll talk more about that in just a little bit. So real quick, a couple of the display settings I want to point out here. So if I go into settings and go into display, now if I adjust here the always on screen, that is going to keep the AMOLED display always on. So notice it says you're going to lose battery life. So if you always have the AMOLED display on, you're going to get about 1 day of battery life. So that's just kind of a heads up. If you keep it by default, so by default, it's going to automatically go. See, now if I use the proximity sensor, notice that it doesn't go to the LCD display, it goes to kind of like a faded out AMOLED display. So now when I go back and I turn off that AMOLED display and turn it on to essential mode again, basically this is going to use that essential mode screen when I cover it up. So there you go, now it's the LCD display. So with this one, you're going to get about 2 to 5 days of battery life. Now they do market it as a possible 30 days battery life, and let me show you how you get to that. So if you want 30 days of battery life, just note that you are going to lose a lot of the functions of the watch, but it is very possible by going into what they call essential mode. So essential mode basically is going to keep it so it's only the LCD display and you will only see this information at all times. It keeps the step counter going, keeps your battery life indicator going, your time and your date, but outside of that, the Bluetooth is turned off, the Wi-Fi is turned off, it's no longer syncing with your smartwatch while that's on. So that's how you're going to get the 30 days of battery life. Otherwise, by default, you're looking at about 2 to 5 days of battery life. I've found that if I'm not using it for running, using the GPS or Bluetooth for music, that I can get around 2 days of battery life. Sorry, 5 days of battery life. If I'm using music and GPS, about 2 days. And then if I keep that always on display, so if I always have the AMOLED display on, about 1 day of battery life. So the battery life is really going to be dependent on how you use it, but just note that you can get up to 30 days of battery life. The one thing I will mention is that when you have it on essential mode, you are not going to be able to see it at night. So if I were to go ahead and turn on this essential mode that turns all of the backlighting off, turns the AMOLED display completely off, I will get 30 days of battery life, but at night there is no backlighting, so you're going to have some kind of light shining on it in order to actually see it. So just a heads up there. But otherwise, if you're laying down at night and you want to see it and you have it just on the regular mode, you just tap it, get the AMOLED display, and then you can cover it right back up in case you want to see the time. Alright, so now let's go ahead and talk about the TicWatch Pro purely as a fitness watch. So I'm going to bring in another watch here. This is my Garmin Vivo Active 3 Music. So this is purely a fitness watch, less of a smartwatch, whereas the TicWatch Pro is much more a smartwatch that also happens to have fitness features. So a couple things that it's missing that this watch has. One would be sleep monitoring. So this watch can always track your heart rate, and as a result of always tracking your heart rate, it's also going to get your sleep monitor. Whereas the TicWatch Pro does not have that. And the other thing is, notice that the heart rate sensor is not working right now, and that's because it's only working while you're actually working out. So if that's something that's important to you, to always have your heart rate, to know what your heart rate is, you'll want to go with something more like this. But if that's not important to you, which for me personally, I don't really care what my heart rate is unless I'm actually working out, then this is a great option. So now let's go ahead and take a look at some of the fitness features it has. So of course we can do GPS, which is very accurate. Of course, while you're working out, the heart rate monitor will work. So I'll go ahead and the app I use for monitoring my running basically is called Ghost Racer. So you can see and notice that as soon as I turn that on, the heart rate monitor turns on. And that's because it's automatically going to start tracking. Now, right now it's looking for GPS. I'm indoors, so it's probably not going to find it. But the GPS does work very well. It's super accurate. I've used it on different routes that I'm very familiar with, and it's very, very accurate. You can, of course, use Google Fit to track your steps and things like that. It will automatically track them by default anyways. We have Fit Workout. This is the app it comes with for working out. So this is the same app that comes with your TicWatch 2 or even your TicWatch S. So the same exact app that you get there. So that one will track. You can see it'll track an outdoor run, outdoor walk, indoor run, cycling, and then also freestyle. So in all of those modes, it will go ahead and use that heart rate monitor if you turn that on. So let's say I go into cycling, it'll instantly start looking for GPS. It'll let you know once. So because it was already looking for GPS with the previous apps, you notice that the heart rate monitor also turns on. So for working out, it does a great job with those. But just note that when you are when you're not working out, the heart rate monitor will not be turned on. So notice that it's already off already because I'm not on the app anymore. All right, so now let's go ahead and talk about navigation on this watch and the software. So of course this is using Wear OS, so just like every other Wear OS watch, it's going to basically work the exact same way. So if I slide down from the top, it's going to give me our quick toggles. If I go into the settings, I can adjust all of my settings in here, including gestures. So notice that I haven't done the tilt to wake. That's because I chose to use touch to wake. I don't like it automatically turning on every time I tilt my wrist, so that's just something that I shut off, but that is available. Of course, we have connectivity, so Wi-Fi, Bluetooth is available there. So if you want to connect it up to some Bluetooth headphones, that's where you're going to do that. So you can see I've used it with, I think, 3 different pairs at this point. So the Jabra Elite Active, that is a pair of Xiaomi headphones. I've used it with a couple other as well. All of them work very, very well. There's our NFC option. Then we can have location. We can turn it from phone to watch, from phone and watch, which is what it's using now. I'm going to go ahead and slide out of this. So our back is basically just to slide to the left. Okay, so then if I slide from the top, it's going to give me my notifications. Now I turned off a bunch of notifications. I really limit the number of notifications that my watch gets because I don't like it going off all day. But that's how you're going to get your notifications. And then to go into all of your apps, you're going to go ahead and just hit this button over here. So here are our apps. Now there are a few that I've added in here. But just as a heads up, the ones it comes with that aren't native to Android Wear would be the Fitness app, and we already talked about that one. Health is Mobvoi app for basically tracking your health through the day. So you can see it kind of uses a Apple logo where it kind of just goes around in the circle to show you when you've met your goals for the day. So it has steps, distance, your exercise that you've done for the day, active hours, and then calories burned for the day. So that's the Health app. That will also sync directly to the app on your phone as well. And then Essential Mode, of course, is going to turn it off so that basically you get that 30 days of battery life. You can use Google Fit for tracking your workouts. Now, I actually don't use that. I use an app called Ghost Racer because Ghost Racer automatically syncs to Strava, which is my preferred app of choice for my workouts. Heart rate is just going to, if you want to just check your heart rate at the moment, notice that that one will turn it on. Other than that, it will only track your heart rate while you're actually working out. Of course, we got Google Maps. Now, I added that in. Technically, it doesn't come with it. I added Google Play Music, so that's just the app I use for music on here. Of course, you can use Spotify. I use Podcast Republic for all of my podcasts, so when I'm running, I like to listen to some podcasts. But of course, we have the Play Store, so you can add games and things like that as well. It's going to take just a second here. Now, I will mention that the screen has to be on for Wi-Fi to work, or you have to have it actually charging for the Wi-Fi to work. So that is something I noticed, that if I turn the screen off or if I took it off the charger, the Wi-Fi just kind of shut off. Or if you turn the always on display on, it'll keep the Wi-Fi on. But otherwise, as soon as it goes over to that essential mode or the LCD display, it does turn the Wi-Fi off. So just a heads up there. So we have the Play Store. We can download a bunch of apps from the Play Store there. Also, 7 is a 7-minute workout app that I like to use. Step ranking, now that's not native to Wear OS, so this one's just going to basically compare your steps to other people. So if you want to know where you're at, so apparently I'm at the most steps for nearby, okay, but obviously no one else has even done any steps or that nobody's tracking. So you can of course get Strava, Runkeeper, anything like that. Whatever you like for your workouts you can get on here. So the sky's the limit when it comes to software on this watch. But overall, I just think this is a fantastic watch. I'm super excited about it. There's really nothing that I really dislike about it at all. I think it's been a fantastic watch. The one thing I will complain about, and I've kind of already mentioned this, is with the LCD display. It is impossible to see this LCD display in the dark. So that's an issue. So if there was a way they could backlight it without me having to tap my AMOLED display on, that would be awesome. So that's one little complaint. And then the other little complaint is that you can't adjust anything on this LCD display either. As far as I can tell, these are the 4 things it's going to show you. But other than that, the TicWatch Pro is a fantastic watch, one I would definitely recommend. Check it out in the links down below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.